Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Southwest.
With 3 games left for everyone in baseball, the Rangers continue the series with Oakland. Martin Perez gets the nod and one final chance to end the season with a winning record. This is Rangers baseball presented by AT&T. Slightly overcast tonight here at Globe Life Park, but otherwise very pleasant, getting ready for the middle game. Well, there are 2 middle games, I guess, in a 4-game series. The first middle game of this 4-game series, the A's and the Rangers. Welcome in, everybody. We're just trying to keep it together. I'm Dave Raymond with CJ Nikowski, and tonight, A's and Rangers. One more chance for the Rangers to get a win against this A's team, which has been very difficult to do lately. We talked a little bit last night about some of the great young players on both these teams. So tonight, let's talk specifically about Matt Chapman.
Matt Chapman is a very interesting guy, 24 years old, and the A's really like what they have in Chapman, and they specifically like the glove. This is a guy now who's played 700 innings at third base, and he has got the highest defensive runs saved in all of Major League Baseball, a metric that tries to put a number on how good defenders are. Matt Chapman, at least according to that one metric, has been the best in the game. He's also got a pretty good bat, and he's got some pretty good power, and he's shown it against the Rangers so far in his 7 games, a couple of home runs, 11 for 24. And so as we look at this young roster with the Oakland A's, Matt Chapman is certainly a player they're very excited about.
Yeah, one of a handful that they feature in their lineup, and a lineup that right now, by the way, is just pounding lumps on people. The Rangers getting 7 of their last 10 against Oakland. Well, the guy who wants to put an end to that tonight, and he's looking to make this a winning season, Martin Perez.
It's been a good year for Martin when you look at the overall season, but he's been very good specifically as of late. But we'll take a look at what he has done so far this year. It's 31 starts, leading the Rangers, taking the ball every single time out to 12 wins, career best for him, and you see him there with the 179 innings. So everything going very well for Martin Perez this year, but especially over his last 10. Take a look what he has done. There has been a mechanical change for Martin. He changed the adjustment on his hands. He's trying to create a little bit more tempo, and it has really worked. A 7-2 record, 3.63 ERA, and of course we know Martin has always been good getting the ground ball when he's needed to get that double play. Now for the last 2 seasons, he has had the most double plays turned in Major League Baseball.
And likes to pitch in this ballpark. So Martin Perez against the Oakland A's tonight, and should things go well late in the game, maybe we'll see Alex Claudio. Again, one of the great stories of this season for the Rangers. He has been fantastic as the unnamed closer, and he'll be in the spotlight with Emily Jones when we come back. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more. And by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency.
A beautiful fall evening for baseball here at Globe Life Park in Arlington. The Rangers and A's set to play game 2 of 4, the ultimate series of the regular season between these two teams. Game number 160 on tap for you tonight. And it has been a frustrating season for these Texas Rangers, up and down and really never able to get in a consistent rhythm, and a lot of the reason early on was because of the bullpen. 16 blown saves through July 1st was the most in the bigs, and then 5 blown saves since that time is the second fewest in Major League Baseball. So hate to be revisionist, but you often wonder what would happen if this team's bullpen had not been in such disarray to begin. And as we continue our Shiner box spotlight, shining on Alex Claudio, he has been a reason for the success in the latter part of the season for this Rangers bullpen. 69 games, a 2.53 ERA, 10 saves, and 54 strikeouts. Just one of 2 Major League pitchers with 1 start and 10-plus saves. It happened for this organization back in 2002 as well. Esteban Loaiza, guys.
Well, he has been something else this year for the Rangers, and one of the great stories of this 2017 season, and hopefully we will see him in a meaningful spot even in today's ball game. All right, time for the starting lineup today for the Oakland A's. And Oakland playing some red-hot baseball right now. Simeon and Matt Chapman up top. Jed Lowry with 155 hits, most on the team. Chris Davis, Ryan Healy, Renato Nunez today, the DH. Fegley, Canna, and Smolinski rounding it out. And
they'll be going up against the lefty Martin Perez, who we talked about. And Martin Perez's forward pitch arsenal, well, there it is. 59% of the time it's been a fastball, both the 4-seam and 2-seam fastball. More 2-seamers than 4-seamers for Martin. The changeup, the slider, and the curveball, all part of the repertoire for Martin Perez.
And he gets us started with ball 1 low. Simeon, 9 home runs this year, and that's not a ton, especially in today's state of the game. But, and we mentioned this last night, lately he has found that power stroke, and so a guy you have to consider dangerous up there, and he hits this one hard out to right field and back on it to make the catch. 1 away.
Well, nice play by Chu to start this game off. This ball was well struck by Marcus Simeon to right field as he goes the other way. We know, of course, the ball carries pretty well here at Globe Life Park, and Chu gets there in time and hauls it in as you see him go up against the wall after he catches it. Not an easy play, but a nice one by Shin-Soo Chu to start this game off.
All right, so 1 quick out, and now here is Matt Chapman. One of the feature pieces of our game open today. Look at the numbers, a .458 average against the Rangers this year, and a pop up into right field. Chu busy early on. 2 away.
Let's take a look at the Rangers defense, which is delivered to you by New Braunfels Convention and Visitors Bureau. Willie Calhoun's getting that start in left field tonight. Delano Shields and Chu in right. Drew Robinson at third. Elvis Andrews at short. Rougned Odor back in there after having the night off yesterday. At second base, Joey Gallo at first, and Brett Nicholas will be catching Martin Perez.
So now Lowry, and he's up there hacking, fouls this one back for a strike. We saw Lowry 155 hits, leading the team. 47 doubles this year, second in the American League, in fact second in Major League Baseball. And he hits this one to second base and grabbed by Odor. Nice leaping catch, and it's a 1-2-3 for Martin Perez.
Well, the defense helping out Martin here in the first inning. First it was Chu, and then Rougned Odor making a nice play on this line drive up the middle off the bat of Jed Lowry.
Reds and now the Rangers as we take a look at our Southwest starting lineup. Delano DeShields leading things off again. Shin-Soo Choo. And then Elvis Andrus still in that search for his 100th run. Nomar Mazara looking for 3 more RBIs. Gallo Calhoun, Rougned Odor, one of 5 players who has played in every game. Brett Nicholas, third baseman Drew Robinson rounding it out.
And on the mound tonight will be Raul Alcantara. And for Alcantara, here is the Ford pitch arsenal. Lots of fastballs 60% of the time, and it is a good one. It averages 95 miles an hour. The changeup will sit at 86. The slider at 89. The curveball, he doesn't use it very often, just 3% of the time so far this year. The slider and the two-seam fastball, though, have been the 2 best pitches for Alcantara.
Alcantara starts DeShields upstairs. Delano at 271. It's been a real good year for DeShields overall. All those numbers great for him. Of course, he's played very good defense in the outfield as well. And certainly much improved over past years in that regard. And he works very hard on it as he hits this one down the right field line and slicing foul out of play.
Delano definitely had something to prove, I think, to Jeff Bannister and the coaching staff from a defensive standpoint. We saw it earlier in the year where he was coming out of games. A defensive replacement will go in to take him out late, and now it's to the point where they feel comfortable using him in center field. And you're right, he's made tremendous strides.
This one out to right field, and Canna is there. One gone here in the bottom of the first.
Well, here is the A's defense tonight for Bob Melvin's club. Chris Davis is in left. Smolinski is in center. Mark Canna in right. Matt Chapman, who we talked about in our open, at third base. Marcus Semien at short. Jed Lowry, the veteran of this club, at second base. Ryan Healy at first. There's a look at Chapman. Josh Fagley is behind the plate tonight for the A's, but that is a good-looking player that they have at third base. We had run through a highlight reel of some of his defense. I mentioned the metric defensive runs saved. I don't love it necessarily, but you know, a lot of the new sabermetric crowd, they like to use that as a way to kind of put a number on defense. It's very difficult, right? We've always done errors before, but errors never tells you about range, never really tells you about arm strength. And so they've kind of worked hard to come up with some defensive metrics, and defensive runs saved is one of them. And right now, despite the fact that he's only played in 700 innings this year, he's got the highest defensive run saved for a third baseman in Major League Baseball, higher than Nolan Arenado. It's certainly not a perfect metric, but it's impressive that he is leading the entire game.
I don't know what that says. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I almost don't know what to make of it.
He's doing a good job defensively, without a doubt. And that's why I would never come in here and say, okay, well, he's got more defensive runs saved than Arenado, so he's better than Arenado. No, he's not. That's unfair to say. Arenado's been out there for 600 more innings playing third base this year than Matt Chapman. But they have a very good defensive third baseman right now at just 24 years old, who is currently playing shortstop because of the shift.
Yeah. How is he at short? Yeah, that's a weird part of that too, right? A lot of these guys end up making a number of plays way outside the realm of their normal positioning, what we would think of conventional positioning. Chu takes ball 4 and will walk with 1 out here.
And that's a reason why you can't put complete stock into defensive run save because of things like that, because it works on zones and whether or not you get to ground balls in certain areas, and the shifts are not always accounted for, so it can be a little bit misleading.
So 1 out, Chu is at first, and here is Elvis Andrus. Elvis 0 for 3 yesterday with a walk. And he is our TXU Energy power player to watch. How about this? Closing in on 300 total bases for the year. Only 2 shortstop in franchise history. Michael Young, he did it 3 times, and A-Rod did it 3 times as well. And Andrews just 2 bases short of getting to that mark himself.
It's been a great year for Elvis Andrus. There's no two ways about it. The career year, the power that he has shown, the 20 home runs, nearly as many as he's hit in the last 3 seasons combined. He's played excellent defense.
And that ball wrapped into left field, base hit. Chu will turn and go for 3. Andrus goes to second with a double. And there you have him. He needed 2, he got 2.
Well, that didn't take very long at all for Elvis Andrus to get those 2 stolen bases. That was his 250th career double, as well 43rd on the season. And talking to a guy right there, Jed Lauer, he's got 47 of his own. But here's a fastball that is elevated. We mentioned 60% of the time you are going to get a fastball, and Elvis does a nice job of getting to this pitch up in the zone. Because Elvis Andrus does not have the bigger uppercut, even though he does have 20 home runs this year, he's able to hit that pitch. You see the side swing right there, stays on the same plane. If he's got a little bit more uppercut, a little bit more of that power swing, he's probably getting under that pitch and maybe even missing it.
All right, so he gets to one of those round numbers we've been hunting lately. And now Nomar Mazara, who's on the lookout for some of his own. He needs 3 more RBIs, you can see, to get to an even 100 for this, which will be his first full year in the big leagues. I mean, last year just missed having spent a full year in the big leagues by a handful of games, and he's in a hole here, 0-2. So the guys worked hard on this one. Who has Mazara driven in the most this year? Well, Andrus, who's at second. Chu, who is at third. And himself 20 times, of course.
Well, you mentioned about Mazara. You know, last year obviously got called up after the season had started, but it was pretty quick. And for Nomar Mazara, even though he didn't make his debut until April 10th last year, the way it works for service time is if you're called up within less than 20 days, and they actually retro that service time. So technically, from a service time standpoint, he did get a full year, but you're right, he missed the first week of the season, week plus, and so the at-bats weren't necessarily there. But I will tell you, these are the little things that players think about, because if it was a player with just under a year of service time, well, that delays your potential free agency.
Sure.
And so it does matter to guys. So luckily for Nomar, he did get that full year of service time last season.
Down to the dirt, 2-2.
So if you go down for, say you get option down for 17 days and you come back up, you actually get those 17 days of service time. You get those back. And if you stay for longer than 20 away from the big league club, then you do not.
So last year, was it 2 years ago, where at the beginning of the year, Chris Bryant was
2 years ago. Oh yeah,
2 years ago, yeah, where he's held out until, I don't know,
21 days, yeah. Probably 21, 22, and there was full intent there by the Cubs to keep his service time down.
Hard bouncer, third base, and that one into left field, base hit. 1-1 is in. Here comes Andrus. He'll score, and Mazara brings home 2. Rangers draw first blood, and Nomar gives them the 2-0 lead.
Oh, we were just talking up Matt Chapman in the great defense, but he could not handle this rocket off the bat of Nomar Mazara. Here's the fastball. You get a great look at it. Good tailing action away. What a great approach by Nomar Mazara. Just trying to hit the ball where it was pitched. And it took a big hop on Matt Chapman, who was charged with an error. That ball was hit hard. That's a really good approach by Nomar Mazara. The A's had Chapman where he wanted, but you see how he came in first? Then he got caught in between on the hop, and so that was a misread. He tried to make up for it with his hands, and he could not.
So there you go. Elvis Andrus touches the plate for the 100th time this year. Man, we're knocking off all kinds of accomplishments here in this first inning. They changed that scoring decision to a base hit and 2 RBIs from Mazara, so he now has 99 RBIs.
That's a problem, because I wrote it down in ink on my scorecard.
Well, I don't know if that's the problem. The problem is that you use ink. But they initially did call it an error and 1 RBI, changed it to a base hit and 2. RBIs. Well, listen, as long as we're shooting for round numbers, Gallo needs 1 to get to 40 home runs. So why not? Let's keep this thing going here in the first inning. Rangers lead 2-0. Alcantara. That's his 20th pitch here in the first inning.
Well, he pitched really well against the Rangers last time we saw him. That was in an emergency start. He actually had back-to-back emergency starts where he went to the ballpark not realizing he was going to be starting that day. But this one was a scheduled start. But he threw 5 shutout against the Rangers, allowed just a couple of hits. But they've gotten to him here in the first.
2-2 the count. Now Alcantara, in fact, came in with just 19 and change innings this year, but 7 of those innings were against the Rangers. His first outing this season back in April, and that was a game here where he went 2 innings, and as you mentioned, the 5 innings last time out. A swing and a miss. He strikes out Gallo, 2 away.
They like his arm, and you can see why. When the slider is on, that was a good one right there. He also threw a really good 88-mile-an-hour changeup to Joey Gallo earlier in that bat. You see the good velocity that he has. Hasn't quite happened for him just yet. Some consistency is what they are waiting on, but certainly you look at the repertoire, you look at the live arm of Alcantara, and you can see why they believe there may be a future for him.
Well, he gets one in there for a strike to Willie Calhoun. Well, Rangers running a steady stream of left-handers at Alcantara tonight. 6 in a row in the lineup. And then Chu in there as well. So 7 of the 9 hitters come from the left side against him.
And that'll mean for Alcantara to 2-seam fastballs, which his fastball, we mentioned 60% of the time pretty much split right down the middle between the 4-seamer and the 2-seamer, but to the lefties, the 2-seam fastball and the changeup.
Pops a glove there at 96 miles per hour and gets ahead of Calhoun. A ball and 2 strikes.
That was pretty much how he worked Joey Gallo, and then once he got to the 2-strike count, you'll see him try to bury that slider down and in for a swing and miss.
Bouncer foul, and we will reset. Calhoun getting a little time here at the end of the season, a chance to play every day, and been choppy playing time for him since his call-up. Was called up, used immediately in left field, and Carlos Gomez came back, got healthy, and that kind of bumped Calhoun from the everyday lineup. Now back in there again on the 1-2 pitch, ground ball hit sharply to second base, but Jed Lowry is there and the inning is done. Well, the Rangers played 2 in their half of the first inning. Nomar Mazara got himself to 99 RBIs with an infield hit, and it's 2-0 good guys. RBIs. Now sitting on 99 for the year. Rangers with a good start to this one. Our Kubota Power stats tonight for Martin Perez, now working with the lead. How about this? First Rangers pitcher with back-to-back seasons of at least 30 starts since 2010 and 2011 when Matt Harrison did it. That surprised me for some reason.
Yeah, that is pretty surprising. Now, obviously, that's good news for Martin Perez that he is taking the ball, getting those 30-plus starts. That is the goal for the top half of your rotation. You'd love to be able to get 3 guys that can do that with some kind of consistency. And that's the plus side. The downside, of course, is that there hasn't been a Ranger besides him that has done that in a while. Of course, Darvish had the injury that got in the way for him. Cole Hamels. Think about him, of course, coming over mid-season. It's Cole Hamels. He's starting on Sunday.
3-0. Count to Chris Davis. Hamels lost a lot of time this year to injury. So did the man to his left, right there on the right of your screen, Andrew Cashner.
It's funny, you would have expected Cole Hamels to do it this year, of
Sure.
course, because he's been so consistent. But because he missed that full month, he'll only make 24 starts this season.
Well, a walk for Chris Davis. That's how we begin the second inning. Well, on Sunday, we are celebrating you with our Fan Appreciation Day. We want to show the best fans in baseball how grateful we are to have you. Rangers and A's, final game of the season, a 2:05 first pitch. Just go to TexasRangers.com to purchase your tickets for Fan Appreciation Day. It's always a fun day. There's a lot going on there. Giveaways, contests, all sorts of just goofiness. And I always love Fan Appreciation Day. It's a fun time. So if you have that day open, especially if you've been thinking, hey, you know what, I need to go see the ball club this year. Well, that's going to be the last chance. So you might as well come out and join us.
What day is Broadcaster Appreciation Day? I didn't see that on the calendar this year. I don't remember that read.
Didn't make it this year.
Is it like Kids Day? Every day is
Every day is
Broadcaster Appreciation Day.
Kids ever ask you about that one? When's Kids Day?
Always.
2-0 to Healy. Martin Perez has not thrown a strike yet this inning. And that's after needing just 6 pitches in the first inning to get Simeon, Chapman, and Lowry.
A word of encouragement there from Elvis Andrus, especially after the Rangers put 2 runs up on the board in the bottom of the first. And Chris Davis, understandably, he's got a very good walk rate, 11% on the season for him. League average is 8. But Ryan Healy, certainly a guy that you want to go after. Is very difficult to walk him.
2-1 the count. And to your point, Healy with 22 walks this year against 141 strikeouts. He's up there to swing. 25 home runs. And he does swing and hits this one on one hop to second base. Odor to Andrews, one on the first, double play. 4-6-3 and neatly done.
It really is amazing to watch Martin Perez do this time after time. His ground ball rate is right around league average, but whenever he gets in these spots, he just has a knack for making the pitch to make it happen. That is now 68 ground ball double plays in the last 2 years for Martin Perez. That leads Major League Baseball by a lot. The next closest is Marcus Stroman, who's got 55.
So now Nunez, who takes strike 1.
That's 13 more. There's Martin Perez this year. Him and Marcus Stroman kind of neck and neck with the double play ground outs that they've gotten this year.
This one down the right field line, foul, and the count 0-2. Chu will make a friend. There we go.
Fan for life. So he's telling mom right now, hey, I got to lose this Beltre jersey. I need a Chu jersey now.
Dude, he is not going to fall asleep easily tonight. And that ball, it might be in the bed with him tonight, right? I mean, there's no
Absolutely.
doubt. That is awesome. 2-2 the count on Nunez. This guy spent all year at AAA Nashville and was a Pacific Coast League All-Star. Hit .249 but 32 home runs. And he takes a breaking ball for ball 3. Hayes called him up on September 5th. It's just his 3rd start. And hits this ball on the line right to shortstop. Andrews is there and the inning is done.
Well, Elvis Andrews and Rougned Odor get it done again. The dynamic duo up the middle, turning a huge double play for Martin Perez.
Rangers, and they'll go to work in the bottom of the 2nd inning. By the way, hey, the Major League Baseball postseason is almost here. Watch every pitch, hit, and strikeout. To this point, let's face it, every out, every inning, and every game is led to this. Now, the only thing that matters is October. The ALDS begins next Thursday only on FS1. Forward to that. Love postseason baseball.
It'll be a good one this year. Some great matchups all the way around. I don't think there's necessarily one juggernaut where you're saying, well, that team's unbeatable. They're going to breeze through the postseason. There are certainly a couple of rosters that look strong, like the Cleveland Indians, very deep. Dodgers have had a really good year despite that little bit of a lull that they had, but that guarantees nothing. Cubs are playing some good baseball now. All of a sudden, they've gotten it back together.
A throw with a ground ball, second base. Lowry right there. 1 away. So I think when you look at the teams, and I mean, these are the matchups if the regular season were to end today. But you look at those 10 teams, and I think any sane person could sit down, and if you had them draw one of those names out of a pile of cards, you could make a really good argument why they will win the World Series. I think 8 of the 10.
Yeah, and it's funny too. I think the second wild card teams probably, right? The Minnesota Twins and the Colorado Rockies probably look the weakest on paper. And I'm with you. You're absolutely right. The wild cards are fun as well. You never know what can happen in one game. It'll be another good postseason, without a doubt, in Major League Baseball.
But Nicholas takes 2 pitches here, 2-0 the count. 20th game of the year for Nicholas. It's a start behind home plate. Contura has had a little bit of trouble with command.
Yeah, there's the changeup there, and that's been an effective pitch for him when he's been able to execute it against these left-handed hitters in the Texas Rangers lineup. You mentioned 7 for them tonight. 6 of them in a row, starting with Nomar Mazara in the 4-hole.
2-2 the count. Now the Rangers with an early 2-0 lead. Nomar Mazara, the DH today, drove in a pair in the first inning on a hard smash off of Chapman down at third base. And that one is outside. It's full count. Second full count tonight for Alcantara, and this one off the end of the bat, third base. Chapman this time in front of it easily and throws out Nicholas. There are 2 gone. Now, big, strong right-hander Raul Alcantara from the Dominican Republic. He's 6'4", 220 pounds. He's still just 24 years old and one of a number of really promising young arms in this Oakland system. I think one of the reasons there's still a lot of optimism around the Oakland A's. A nice breaking ball in there for a strike to Robinson. Now, I mentioned this last night, and CJ, you did a good job of breaking this down yesterday.
Oh, thank you.
In our show Open. 6 home runs in 98 at bats, and he lines this one out to left field. That's great power, but unfortunately completes a 1-2-3 inning here in the second. 2-0 Rangers as we go to the third. Coverage of baseball presented by T-Mobile. How about all the 100-win seasons already claimed and maybe to be claimed this year? Astros 1 win shy of making it 3 100-win teams this year. It'll be the first time since 2003. And the National League wild card has been a great race. It continues to be a great race as we get going here in the third inning. Josh Phegley leading it off. Rockies with a 2-game lead over the Brewers. Brewers have been so close in 2 races now. Just 3 games to play, though, so the tensions remain high in Milwaukee. Phegley, Canna, and Smolinski in this third inning. Bouncer up the middle. Andrews gliding to his left, takes care of Phegley, and there was one away. And of course, the other note that was on there was Giancarlo Stanton now at 59 home runs. CJ, you've been for a while now talking about, can he get to 61 And what kind of meaning that might have as he chases Roger Maris's hallowed record from 1961. And it's looking like he's got a real shot.
It certainly does. We knew that he hit one yesterday during our game. We did not know that he hit that second one. That happened after the Ranger game ended last night. We're saying, well, could he hit 3 over the last 3 days? Well, we forgot, of course, he could hit more than 1 per game. And so it looks like he's got a pretty decent chance to get there. 3 more games remaining, including tonight for Stanton. It'll be an interesting conversation, that is for sure. But just that 60, 61 is still.
It's a magic number.
It is. It's not as much as it was, unfortunately. It was so fun for so long, basically ever since 1961 for any baseball fan. Every time a home run hitter got close, 50 in September, right? It seemed like, oh wait, maybe you got a chance here.
Well,
and it never happened.
That happens very rarely for the longest time, right? That anyone would ever get close to 50. I mean, I remember for years as a kid looking back at George Foster baseball cards, thinking like, man, he got 50 home runs. Because when I was a kid, in my heyday, Dale Murphy or Pedro Guerrero would lead the National League every year with 36. That was, I mean, that was the mark, man. You get to 36, you're taking home a home run title. Bouncer third base. Nice pick down there by Robinson. 2 away. And we'll bring up Jake Smolinski. Anyway, changing gears, let's check in with Emily Jones.
Guys, we've had plenty of people at Ranger games on their honeymoons, but this one is a little different. Teresa and Lloyd Price literally just got married here at Globe Life Park in Arlington. Teresa, you brought an honorable judge here with you to marry you right here in between innings. Where did this idea come from?
Actually, it was her idea at school. She's actually my boss too, but she asked me what I was going to wear when I asked her to marry me. And I said, well, actually, I want to wear my Rangers jerseys. And she said, are you serious? And I said, yes. And so she came up with the idea of coming to the game tonight and doing it at the game.
And here you guys are just married. Congratulations are in order. Where will you go on your real honeymoon?
Probably Destin, Florida. That's what we're talking about now.
But this is a good start for you guys.
This is awesome.
And you're in luck because you're the progressive fan of the game, which means this is your first wedding gift.
Yes.
Right.
Likely the best wedding gift you'll ever get. Guys, congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. Price. Congratulations. You may kiss the bride.
Wow.
Oh, okay. All right. That's good.
Clean it up a little bit.
Let's go now.
Family show.
That's awesome. I was trying to photobomb them earlier today. They
Yeah.
were taking selfies, and I couldn't get myself in the frame. I had no idea that they were getting married today. Next thing I know, there they are. Another love connection here at Globe Life Park.
Well, that was awesome. I was trying to figure out what the heck was going on because it happened right in front of us, right in front of our booth. And we saw the judge come in. We did not know she was a judge at the time. And she was carrying something in a dry cleaning bag. And I said to you jokingly, who brings her dry cleaning to the ballpark? Well, now we know exactly what happened and what it was all about. And the judge, of course, wanting to keep her robe nice and clean for the ceremony. And what a wedding gift.
Oh, man.
A fan of the game bag.
And what a strikeout of Marcus Semien to win the top of the third. 2.5 in. Rangers lead 2-0. Tonight, 2-0 Rangers. And a little reminder, just one more Saturday night game left in the regular season. It is tomorrow. A's Rangers in our second middle game of this series. 7:05 first pitch. You can get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. Hope to see you out here tomorrow. Had a great crowd here last night. Another really good group here on this Friday evening. It is the final homestand of the year.
41,000, more than 41,000 last night. That was probably broadcaster appreciation night.
That must have been
I think about the large crowd, of course. That's why they were here.
Here's Delano DeShields, top of the order in this third inning. DeShields, Chu, and Elvis Andrus. Contra's one strike offering. Oh, that one on the inside corner. DeShields. A wry look of displeasure on his face after that one.
Well, it's also that time of year too, with the Rangers being eliminated, that things that maybe used to bother you a little bit will bother you a little bit more. Understandably so, that guys will be a little bit more cranky. I mean, it's been a great personal year for Delano DeShields, but from a team standpoint, there's certainly some frustration here for these Rangers. And sometimes when you're playing out the season, knowing that you're not going to the postseason, mood changes a little bit.
This one fouled away. It's like the it's kind of the right time for the airing of grievances
Yeah.
portion of Festivus. Yeah, guys, I guess the fuses get just a smidge shorter.
No doubt. It happens even sometimes among your own teammates. It's kind of the way it goes, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. You almost, I don't say you like seeing it, but at the same time it's always good maybe to see some outward expression that guys actually care, even if it means, you know, yelling at an umpire when he doesn't deserve it, or getting annoyed maybe with a teammate, because you want to win, and when you haven't won, you'll be a little bit upset about it, and that's okay.
Slow roller, third base. Chapman fires, and that one met DeShields right as he got to first base.
Oh, and now they're calling Delano DeShields out of that 45-foot lane that he is supposed to run in, but you do not see this call very often.
At the bag? I mean, he made contact at the bag. There is no way.
I'm with you on that one.
Where are you supposed to go?
That is a shocking call from Tony Randazzo at first base tonight. And Jeff Bannister right now making the case for Delano DeShields. You see the slider, there it is down, the slow ground ball that was hit. And this is natural. Look, you see Delano DeShields in the grass. Guys do this all the time. They prefer to run the grass if they can. Not they're actually faster, but they feel faster. But by the time you get right there, as you see Delano DeShields' right foot hitting the bag, you're back in the lane. It's usually how it goes. Let's see here if we can get a look at it. Delano's right on that line. You just don't see this call happen very often, and they call it a 45-foot lane violation. It is not reviewable. So Delano DeShields is ruled out.
Well, that's fairly unusual.
The only time you see that come into play is, well, I shouldn't say the only time, most of the time, is on a bunt.
Yes.
Right, where the catcher has to pop out and make a throw, and or even the pitcher for that matter, and the lane is cut off because the base runner ran in the grass and there's not a true lane to first base. That's the reason that is there. I think it's anything to do with a throw coming from any other part of the infield. Very unusual call. You don't see that hardly ever.
Now Chu, and he takes 2 balls from Alcantara. Boy, I tell you
So
what.
how are you scoring that?
Well, that's just it. I mean, I believe that would go down as a 3 unassisted putout, but I'm not.
Well, Ryan Healy didn't even catch the ball.
I know, but when there's interference or obstruction, those types of things, it's usually the fielder closest to the violation gets an unassisted putout.
So no assist for Chapman.
Right.
No error for Chapman.
No error.
I mean, that was a tough play. Let's see where there wouldn't be an error. There's no error up on the board.
No, not yet. I think they might still be working through this. We're getting some communication on a scoring decision right now, but it's I'm going to hold off on this one because I just don't think that's accurate.
Well, here's the thing, and I guess we don't know, and that Tony Randazzo is not going to take the time to explain it, but had Ryan Healy caught that ball, was Delano DeShields out? Right? You know what I mean? Like that we don't know that. Nobody was focusing on that part of the play because he dropped it anyway. So for the official scorer, that's I think what he has to kind of do. So, okay, well, Ryan Healy ended up dropping that ball. Did he drop it because Delano DeShields violated the rule? So then if that's the case, then I could see where they would say, okay, well, it's just 3 unassisted. But the idea of giving Matt Chapman an error, if he was going to be out anyway, you see even Ryan Healy reacting there a little bit.
Oh, he didn't get back to the bag. That's what happened.
What?
Holy moly. So here's it. He initially turned towards second. That was a great replay. So when he crossed first base, his first move was to second base. You got to peel off to the right. If you don't peel off to the right, watch this.
But look where he is. So he looks and sees the ball.
Well, that
so
moved
they're
to
saying
second
he
right
made
there.
Wow. So we had this completely wrong. So they were saying that he made an attempt to go to second base. Now that's unusual too, because more often than not that attempt happens in fair territory. I didn't realize that. I've always believed that rule to be that you turn to the left. Like you could go straight through the bag all day long, but because they said he made an attempt to go to second base. Wow, I didn't see that part at all. That is very interesting.
Yeah. So that's actually now an E5, an error on Chapman because he was safe, and then a 4 unassisted put out because it was Lowry who ran him down from behind. Wow. Okay. Well, that makes a lot more sense now that we've seen that portion of the replay. That jab step he took towards second base constitutes a move towards second. He's no longer at that point just running through the bag.
Yep.
And so once you make any kind of move like that, then you're back in the play. And in that case, he's then a live base runner. Now, you know, walk back to the bag. He could have just taken a couple of quick steps to the bag and gotten back there. He would have been fine. It was the walking back to the bag that killed him.
Very unusual play. Tough error.
That's tough.
I mean, that's the other part because that's a tough play. You're obviously on the run. You have Delano DeShields running. And was it because Ryan Healy dropped the ball? I mean, I guess the throw was offline a little bit.
It was offline.
That should have been a base hit for you.
I think it probably should have been a base hit and a 4 unassisted put out, but he'll get charged with the error because it did take Healy off the bag, and the throw was also in a position that it caused him to drop it because of the collision with the Shields. What a mess.
Yeah. I thought 45-foot lane was what they were calling because he ran right up the grass, and there was contact. We were basing it on what we saw with the ball to contact Ryan Healy's glove. Very interesting.
Right.
I'm trying to think. I don't ever remember seeing anybody make the attempt like that without getting into fair territory. Anytime you see that play, and I'm not saying it shouldn't be called that way, you just don't see it because Delano went off to his right a little bit. And anytime you see that happen, the runner is usually in fair territory making a small attempt, and then he realizes I got to get back. I wonder if Delano thought since he was still in foul territory that rule didn't apply. You just don't see it.
It's the worst feeling.
Oh yeah. Well, some guys will do it and then they realize they're in trouble. They'll try to pretend.
Yep. Exactly.
You know,
and that's exactly what I felt like I was watching. And I get it, right? Because it's the exact same tactic that I would use. I mean, and in fact, I can tell you the same tactic I have used.
Yeah, I believe.
And it did not work.
And
I was out too.
Heads up play by Lowry too, and you know, good second basemen who are backing up plays, or sometimes the catcher gets dragged into that play, does a really nice job of coming over. Just go ahead and tag him anyway. Give the umpire a chance to make that call, even if you know there's probably almost no chance of it getting made.
Andrews fights off the 7th pitch of the at bat. Keep the count at 1-2. A man on, choose on via the walk. 1 away. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Yeah, that's always a tricky one. When you run through the bag at first, and he did peel off to the right. He did that totally correctly. But then it was the jab step towards second that compromised him. 1-2. And that is outside. So one more look at this. This is from start to finish.
What a tough error. Are you kidding me? He's even watching. I watched the lineup. A little bit of a attempt.
And right. So you're fine. That's the bad move. Now just get to the back. Go, go, go. Bouncer third base. Chapman to second one. The relay not in time. Andrews beats it out and keeps the inning alive. 5-4. Force out at second base. But Elvis on via the fielder's choice.
Designated hitter, Mazzara.
And here comes Mazzara. Well, it's just another reason why you never give up on a play, of course, defensively. And I think another reason why offensively you can never assume that anybody's giving up on the play.
That's right.
Now Mazzara picked up a couple of RBIs in the first inning. Now sits on 99 for the year. One of the runs he drove in was the man at first base, Elvis Andrus, and for Elvis, the 100th run scored this season. Bouncer up to the plate. Ball one on Mazzara. Josh Fagley, the catcher tonight for Oakland. Good job of keeping that one in front of him. Yesterday we saw Bruce Maxwell back there behind the dish. And they're able to take advantage of a deeper roster and a deeper roster of catchers in particular. Outside 2-0. Bob Melvin, the manager of the Oakland A's, just yesterday extended through the 2019 season. Swinging a foul tip. It's 2-1.
Interesting that Bob Melvin got that extension. Getting to that time of year, we already know that Brad Osmus will not be back with the Tigers next season. A lot of rumors surrounding Terry Collins. I'm sure there'll be a couple of firings as soon as the season ends. And Bob Melvin has a contract, or had one, for next year. They just added another year on it, and use that phrase, you know, lame duck manager, going into a season knowing you only have 1 year left.
Bouncer down to first. Really nice play by Healy. Backhand to take it to the bag himself. The inning is done. An interesting one at that. We go to the fourth inning. It's 2-0 Rangers. Brought to you by Southwest. yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. Well, Rangers captain taking care of business. And so is this guy, Martin Perez, so far through 3 shutout innings. Working with a 2-0 lead. And Martin, as we mentioned earlier, came in with a .500 record, 12 wins, 12 losses. His 32nd start of the season and trying to end this season with a winning record. Even though we know wins don't really matter. But his last 10 starts, he's been really good.
They do to pitchers. They like seeing them on there. They know that, of course, they can pitch well, not get a win. They can pitch average or even not that great and still get a win. Of course, they always want to be pitching well. But they love seeing those win totals in their own stat line.
Well, pop up out into right field, and Chu takes control. 1 out here in the 4th inning. All right, time for a Chevy game break. Let's check in with Dana Larson.
Hey fellas, thanks very much. Afternoon baseball in the Bronx. Masahiro Tanaka looks sharp in his playoff tune-up. Career high 15 Ks. Yankees down the Blue Jays 4-0. The final this afternoon, Dave.
Yeah, thank you, Dana. And I remember after a couple of weeks into the season, CJ was trying to trade Tanaka from the Yankees.
Is that when you were wearing your Aaron Judge? Oh no, you were wearing your Michael Conforto jersey.
Yeah, exactly.
You were trying to tell the world that Michael Conforto. Remember when you said that Michael Conforto was better than Aaron Judge? Oh man, that was hilarious. I really enjoyed that. We hope we have that on tape somewhere.
Never happened. Here's the 1-strike pitch to Lowry, and he takes low. 1-1.
Well, the overall year for Tanaka did not go that well for him. The ERA was near 5 before today's start. And remember, he had the monster spring training. That was the thing, like an absurd spring training. I think he let up 1 earned run, 20+ innings, and he did not have a great year. But it doesn't matter. We talk about it all the time. How are you playing now? Cubs are a great example, right? They didn't have the greatest of years, but they got it together. They're playing well now. And for the Yankees, they need the good Masahiro Tanaka if they want to have any chance of advancing in the postseason.
Lowry sends this one out to center field. Long run for Delano DeShields, and he can't get to it. He'll have to take the carom off the wall. And Lowry with another double, his 48th of the year.
That's now first, right, on the all-time A's list, if I'm not mistaken. He was tied for the lead with 47. Here's a 2-seam fastball from Martin Perez, and not a bad one. It just came back over the plate a little bit. It was down in a way, but Jed Lowry is a good hitter, and he lined out in his first at-bat, and this one he put a pretty good jolt into the center field. That one had some carry on it. He's having an unbelievable season.
Yeah, he is. Just past Jason Giambi, who had 47 doubles in 2001. It's a new Oakland A's record. Now, when you talk about the Athletics' total franchise history, it's 4th, or was tied for 4th in their history. Now here's Chris Davis. Well, a guy having a big year. 42 home runs, 108 RBIs. First time the A's have had a man into scoring position tonight. And Perez will make sure that Lowry doesn't get too big a lead. Lowry not the fleetest of foot.
I think he stretched a couple of triples into doubles this year.
He
Maybe
might
help
have
a little bit.
He might have. So 1-1 the count.
So 48 ties him for a second all-time in A's history. The other 2 guys had 48 that were in front of him when he was tied for 4th. Al Simmons, though, 53. I don't think he can get there. That was back in 1926.
Old bucket foot Al Simmons.
One more at least will allow him to be second all-time. That's pretty impressive. You're going back to 1901.
Ground ball second base, and Davis thrown out for the second out of the inning. Lowry moves up to third base.
He's an interesting guy as far as what the A's ultimately want to do with Jed Lowry. I mentioned it last night. He's got a $6 million team option for next year. They will absolutely exercise that. That'll be good value for them. But then it becomes, okay, well, do you move him or not? He's certainly enjoying the moment. He's 34 years old next year. A lot of teams would like to have that for a second baseman. 1 year, $6 million. The average major league salary is about 4.5. So you're talking about barely over the average salary. Of course, the league minimum is a lot lower, just over $500,000. 360 on base coming into tonight's game, hitting nearly 280. It's got a lot of value. We know that, of course, that Billy Beane likes to deal.
Well, he likes to deal, and he has a number of really good young players, in particular infielders, that he can go to if he wants. But there is some real value in having a guy like Lowry who can give you good at bats and provide leadership in a clubhouse. And I mean, he's a proven very good major league hitter, and it's nice to have a little stability, a little something you can really count on in the heart of your order every night if you're an A's team in the middle of a rebuild. Ryan Healy 0 for 1. He grounded out into a double play, in fact, in the second inning.
I think if Franklin Barreto, their young second baseman who they like, was a little bit closer, he's only 21 years old. I think if they felt that he was ready to take over, it might make that move a little bit easier, but you're right. Lowry's got a lot of value.
Well, line drive to center field by Healy, and the inning is done. The A's leave a man at third base. We've played 3.5. Rangers lead it 2-0. All right, fellas. Hey, you don't want to miss a minute of the action next year. Rangers.com/seasons. Go ahead and place your deposit for your 2018 season tickets. That's right, it's that time already. You'll guarantee the best seats at the best prices if you get involved now. Go to TexasRangers.com/seasons and place that season ticket deposit today. Gosh, hard to believe we're already talking about next year. This the final weekend of the regular season in 2017. And Joey Gallo hits one on the ground sharply to second base. Lowry right there on top of it. 1 pitch, 1 out in the bottom of the 4th inning. Alcantara has recovered nicely from that first inning.
All right, you were talking about the strikes earlier, and he was having a little bit of a difficult time getting in the strike zone, but he is now up to 62% strikes on the night, right where you want to be. So he has recovered nicely over these last few hitters.
It's been a bit of an issue for him all year. You know, the walk that he gave up to Chu in the first inning, that was his 11th. He walked Chu again, his 12th walk in about 22 innings now this year.
Yeah, high walk rate coming in, 4.6 per 9, which ironically enough was the exact same strikeout rate that he had at 4.6 per 9. So it's An even 1-1, which is not exactly where you want to be, but it is limited innings. But you see this kind of arm in this generation against this team, right? We know the Rangers take some big swings. We know the Rangers will swing and miss and strike out. So 1 strikeout tonight so far. Now, we did have, what, 5 in that game where he threw the 5 innings. But when you see the big fastball and the really good changeup, and you've seen a good slider from him at times tonight, you would really expect that strikeout rate to be a lot higher.
Three-one pitch. Calhoun bounces it left side of the infield, knocked down by Chapman, but has no play. That'll be a base hit. Twice tonight, where the Rangers have gotten a base hit out of it.
Good hustle here by Willie Calhoun. This ball takes a big hop, and at that point, Chapman is at the shortstop position and cannot come up with it cleanly, and so he's had some work. We talked about him in our open in the defense, and he could have had 2 errors called on him tonight. Of course, that ball that Nomar Mazara was originally ruled an error changed to a hit. And then the play with Delano DeShields, and now that one right there. So a little bit of the reverse hex from our open. It seemed to have worked.
Well, runner on now. And Odor takes outside. Ball 1. Two and 0. Odor grounded out of the second. He's 0 for 1.
So we've been talking about Rougned Odor and getting to that 162 mark, right? Games played. Appears that that is going to happen for him this year. And talking about how it's kind of a rarity. There's 5 guys right now. Interesting. I got to believe at this point they'd all like to get there. They're going to play in 159 out of 159. I guess seeing that 162, I'm not going to say on the back of your baseball card. I don't know if that's the right phrase anymore, but maybe on your baseball reference page or your Fangraphs page or whatever your website of choice is, wherever players like to look at their numbers and track them down. Seeing that 162, and probably a little bit of a point of pride these days.
I would think that'd be a huge point of pride.
Yeah. Now, at the same time, just in general, now I'll look at how many at bats, how many of those starts. I think that certainly matters as well, but I got to believe all 5 of those guys, Joey Votto, Eric Hosmer, Freddie Galvis, Alcides Escobar, and now Rougned Odor will all get there this year. What we say, 2 last year?
Dribbler foul.
There was 2 guys last year that got to 162 games. Only 1 the year before that. So yeah, if we see 5 this year, I think it matters. I'm sorry, 3 last year. George Springer, Jonathan Scope, Alcides Escobar.
Payoff to Odor. And he swings and misses strike 3. So 2 gone here in the 4th inning. Let me ask you this. You mentioned the baseball cards, or maybe going to the various stat sites. It's only been about 100 years since you played, but
is that all?
The baseball cards, did you used to like to see your baseball card? Maybe go check out your baseball card?
Of course. I mean, the first one, right?
Sure.
It's the same dream every other kid had, right? I mean,
right.
Millions of kids, you have that dream, and of course you imagine playing in the big leagues. You imagine getting that first baseball card. So yeah, the first time that I got one, I thought it was pretty cool. Nowadays they make them for amateurs anyway, right? You go anywhere and have them made. But to actually have one made by the Topps company is pretty cool. I think that's still a moment for a lot of guys. Now, that card market really got flooded in the early 90s and through the mid 90s, and then the market kind of went down a little bit. So there were so many different brands out there, but Topps was still the one.
Did you have a nice Sports Flicks card? And Upper Deck and Fleer and Donruss.
Pinnacle,
Bowman,
I think, was one. Yeah, there was a lot of different ones. There was one called 4 Sport, I remember. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool when you get that first baseball card.
Were you a collector as a kid?
A little bit, just a little bit, not a ton. You know, we flipped cards. You do that when you were little?
I was not a card flipper.
Yeah, we would flip them, basically to win other cards. The way that game worked, if you matched, you got to take your buddy's card.
Ground ball, third base. Chapman this time a nice true throw, and it ends the inning. More baseball card talk when we come back. We played 4 complete. It's 2-0 Rangers.
Congratulations to Ranger fans celebrating birthday.
Down the third base line. Hey, tomorrow our AT&T matchup. Daniel Gossett looking for his 5th win of the year for Oakland against Andrew Cashmere. Cash making his final start of the regular season and trying to end it on an up note and with an even record for the year if he can get win number 11. Cash preparing the pregame diet of
Loading up with
peanuts.
some peanuts
Yep.
and protein.
I'll lean on that for strength tomorrow late in the game.
Peanut strength. I will say this. I know you were joking about continuing the card conversation.
No, I'll go for innings on this.
So I have like a cigar box, old cigar box from my grandfather. I kept my baseball cards in. Not that many. What was fun, I mean, I loved them as a kid. And I do remember, you know, all I cared about growing up a Yankee fan and in the suburbs of New York, when I opened up a pack, all I wanted was Yankees. The rest of them were garbage to me, no matter who they were, right? That's kind of how I was. I was really single-minded.
Would have loved to be trading with you.
Yeah, exactly. You would have done well. I felt like I would get all of these Bud Black cards all the time. Now, I didn't really know much about Bud Black, and I used to get super annoyed at how many Bud Black Kansas City Royals cards I'd have.
Nunez yanks that one foul.
This guy again? You know, like all the time. Now, not knowing again, of course, Bud Black is now the manager of the Rockies. Tremendous pitching coach over the course of his career. I got to do some TV with him at FS1. He's as great as a guy you'll ever run across. But it was kind of interesting and fun for me, even about 10 years after I was playing into my career, go back and open up that box and see all these coaches that I had along the way that I knew nothing about as a kid. And I was like, oh, this card, I kept them, even though I didn't like them, didn't want them, had no use for them. And you start running across all these coaches that you had along the way. Like, oh, yeah, there's so-and-so and so-and-so. And so it's kind of fun to go back every 5 to 10 years, dig through the box and see some guys that you eventually cross paths with. And it was good to meet Bud Black and realize that he wasn't such a horrible guy.
Did you tell Bud?
Absolutely, I told him.
I figured you would.
And you got a good laugh at it.
Strike 3 called on Nunez. And he acts a little surprised, but that was a pretty quality pitch. Second strikeout tonight from Martin Perez.
Yeah, it's a well-located fastball. You see the target there from Brett Nicholas, and just a little bit of movement to make sure that he gives the home plate umpire Rob Drake a good look at it. But that is good location. Very quiet movement. So important for a catcher when you're trying to steal a strike, maybe on a borderline pitch. Good job by Nicholas and Martin Perez.
Perez gets first one in to Josh Phegley. Phegley grounded out in the third inning. He's 0 for 1.
Now, for sure, I totally know this without even asking you with the answer to this question. You took your baseball card, clothespin, put it on your bike so it sounded like a motorcycle. True or false?
No, I did not.
What?
No, that was.
I did that.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Little pop up into center and a diving catch by Delano to Shields. That's right, Martin Perez. He'll take that one all day long. What a great defensive play by the Rangers' speedy center fielder.
We were talking about it just a little bit earlier, how Delano DeShields has made such great improvements defensively, and you're going to see it here. A softly hit ball and a good jump. You got to read it before you can run. He does exactly that, and of course the great speed. That takes full extension for Delano DeShields to be able to get to this ball. A lot of people say, well, you didn't see him run right away, right? We got a really good look at it from behind home plate. Well, that's a tough read for a center fielder. You want to see that ball first before you start reacting. You took that little half step back and then the explosion straight forward and a great play.
So 2 away. And now Mark Canha.
And that's why one of the bits of information that we get now, right? How quick first step is for the outfielder. You also have to take a lot into consideration. It's not just seeing the ball and reacting right away. You got to get a read on the ball. And sometimes that takes an extra quarter or half of a second. And so a guy might get penalized when they're accumulating those numbers the way that they do. So much great data that we have these days. But when it comes to that first step data, for me, you got to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, because if it's a jam shot or something off the end of the bat, sometimes not reacting right away works to your advantage and puts you in a better position as opposed to reacting the wrong way. I would like to know what it feels like to run like that just once. Just one time. The way that Delano runs. That must be fun.
It is. I'll tell you, it's fun to watch. Three balls and a strike on Canha. 8th place hitter. 2 out here in the 5th inning. Rangers leading 2-0. Martin Perez mumbling to himself out there. Sorry, Martin. Ground ball left side of the infield. And Andrews has time. Throws out Canha. And the inning is done. It's a 1-2-3 top of the 5th. Halfway there tonight. 2-0 Rangers. How about the wild card race? National League style, St. Louis Cardinals yesterday, 11th inning. Oh, God, that has to be a tough way to go right there. Eliminated from wild card contention with that one right there. Cubs 2-1 winners yesterday in St. Louis in 11 innings. And so St. Louis will not go to the postseason. Milwaukee's still alive, though. 2 games back of Colorado with 3 to play this weekend. Drew Robinson, first pitch swinging, and shoots this one out into center field for a base hit. Robinson aboard, and now the top of the order coming.
Drew Robinson has been swinging a pretty good bat here, getting those consistent at-bats. It's a pitch middle in, does a nice job keeping the hands in, barrel to the ball. See it right there. That's the one thing about Drew Robinson as we watched this year, and we talked about 6 home runs and under 100 at-bats, and how does that play out over the course of the season? Is he a 35 home run type of player? He might be. But the consistent at-bats are when you really get a chance to find out about a player.
Shields to bunt, pops it up right near the plate, and Fegley takes care of it, 1 away. Might just add a little frustration to the night for Delano. We'll bring up Chu. Alcantara, by the way, now this next pitch will be his 80th of the night. The longest he has gone this season, 86 pitches. That was his last start against the Rangers. He has transitioned to more of a swing man this year in the Oakland organization after making 5 starts last year with the A's. And also a guy who has struggled through some biceps tendonitis issue, missed about 2 months. Sam Maul working in the bullpen, so in fact it looks like he is ready to go when needed. This ball hit out to that bullpen, carrying well, and it is gone. 2 going the other way into left field, a 2-run bomb, and the Rangers lead it 4-0.
This is an impressive home run here from Chu as he goes the opposite way against a pretty strong right-handed pitcher. Take a look at this pitch where they're trying to go in at fastball finishes out and maybe even off the plate at 93 miles an hour. Sing-Chu Chu, very nice home run the other way, and he knocks Alcantara out of the game.
So that is it for the big right-hander, and the A's go into the bullpen. New pitcher when we come back.
Nothing lead here in the bottom of the 5th inning, thanks to the 22nd home run of the season off the bat of Shin-Soo Choo. And here's a nice look at the side swing. When you get a ball that's away, you got to let it travel a little bit if you want to drive. You don't want to get too far out front. Choo does exactly that. He drills that ball right into the A's bullpen. It was a 2-run shot that gives the Rangers a 4-0 lead. And also makes Bob Melvin get into his bullpen.
Up for Chu, tying a career high with those 22 home runs. He did it in 2015 with the Rangers and 2010 with Cleveland. And still time to go. A chance maybe even to establish a new career high this year as we take a look at Sam Maul.
And for Maul, a rookie getting ready to pitch in his 10th game, not only of the season, but of his career at the big league level. It's been a little bit of a slow start. He's allowed 8 hits in 4 2/3 innings, 6 runs, 2 home runs in that time as well for Maul. 92-mile-an-hour fastball, 79-mile-an-hour slider, and an 82-mile-an-hour changeup for the lefty.
Elvis Andrus, and he shows bunt, takes strike 1, and then not happy about it. One out here, nobody on base. And it is 1-1 to Andrus, who has scored a run tonight, has a double in 2 trips. 4 runs, 5 hits, no errors for the Rangers. No runs, 2 hits, and 1 error for the A's. And just a little bit low, 2-1. Well, what a year it has been for Elvis Andrus. He would love to finish the year at 300. Lifts this one high in the air. But not going to carry out there in right field. Canna waiting, and there are 2 away. All right, time for a Chevy game break. Let's check in once again with Dana Larson.
Dave, Dodgers with the best record in baseball in Denver, where the Rockies have nearly sewn up the 2nd wild card spot. This 2-run blast by Mark Reynolds helps, his 30th. Reynolds hadn't reached the 30-homer plateau since hitting 37 for Baltimore back in 2011. Rockies, rather, with a 5-1 lead, guys.
Yeah, interesting. Thanks, Dana. So the Rockies, that's huge, right? I mean, they're right on the cusp of locking this thing down today. Zara takes one low for ball 1.
And that's because the Milwaukee Brewers are winning right now. So if they win, the Rockies win, that lead will remain at 2 with 2 to play. But it's only 2-1, and that game is just in the bottom of the 5th inning in St. Louis between the Brewers and the Cardinals. So some scoreboard watching going on for sure by the Milwaukee Brewers, who have had a good season. Looks like maybe they'll fall a little bit short when it's all said and done.
Remember when the Rangers were right in the throes of the American League wild card? So many teams kept shuffling about 2 to 3.5 games out, and we kept checking the standings to see how all the teams, the Twins, everybody was doing like in the last 10. It was 5-5, 4-6. It was such a weird run. You look at the National League teams that have been in the mix, same thing. Yep. 5-5, 4-6, 6-4. It's a weird year for the wild card, because in years past it seems like the wild card entrant, that especially the last one, is usually a team that just gets smoking hot in the last couple of weeks and makes that great push. Not this year. This guy's holding on. 1-2 to Mazzara. And a lifted foul out of play.
Well, there is even a lot of question whether or not the Brewers, as they were playing well earlier in the season, middle of the season, could they really hang on? Could the Rockies really hang on? So much young pitching. Well, those were 2 teams that at least defied the odds. But you're right. A lot of the other teams just kind of falling back to the middle of the pack, and nobody really taking control or command of the situation. And so the Rockies most likely win that 2nd wild card, and the Minnesota Twins have already won the 2nd wild card in the American League.
This one served out to left field, drops in, base hit. Mazzara going the other way, picks up his 2nd hit of the night.
Well, that's the good approach that you see from Nomar Mazzara against left-handed pitching. Not trying to do too much, always looking for something middle away. The bulk of the pitches you're going to get as a left-handed hitter against a left-handed pitcher are going to be middle away, whether it's fastball, breaking pitches, whatever it is. So having that opposite field, center field approach is always a good one, so you can do things like that. We've also seen Nomar drive the ball out of the ballpark the other way against lefties.
Now Gallo, and he takes a mighty rip That's strike one.
Interesting for Maul, a guy who started out the season in his career with the Colorado Rockies, was purchased by the A's in the middle of August. Now you'd think first time in the big leagues earning a promotion that he'd have some pretty dominant numbers against lefties, but he didn't in the minor leagues. They hit just 306, or hit 306 against them.
A sinking liner into center field, and that's a base hit for Joey Gallo. Back-to-back 2-out hits here for the Rangers in the 5th inning.
2 hits from 2 left-handed hitters, so the Rangers do a really nice job. Joey Gallo, I just mentioned Nomar Mazara and driving the ball the other way. Well, here is a slider. It doesn't have a lot of break, but it is down. But down over the middle, and Joey Gallo taking that center field approach. Finds himself a nice base hit up the middle.
Two-man aboard now for Willie Calhoun. Sporting a new haircut today.
I got to believe these guys faced each other. Noel spent some time with the Rockies and the A's in AAA, and of course Willie was in the PCL as well with both the Dodgers and the Rangers. Pretty decent chance that they have battled at some point this season at the minor league level.
1-1. Two balls and a strike to Calhoun. Tiger working hard back there behind home plate. 2 men on here in the 5th inning. Rangers scored 2 runs in the first. They've added 2 runs here in the 5th inning. You take a look at Gallo, and then off in the distance, Mazara off second base. A couple of big dudes out there. Rangers going with a double tight end formation. Calhoun, a guy who was identified early in his career as a guy who could definitely hit at high levels. They weren't real sure how he would be defensively. What we have seen defensively this year has been pretty good. And he shoots this one into left field. That's a base hit. Mazara around third. He'll come to the plate. RBI single. And Willie Calhoun has 2 hits tonight. 5-0 Rangers.
Well, this is 3 straight really encouraging at-bats for 3 young left-handed hitters with the Texas Rangers against a left-handed pitcher. First it was Mazara to left, Gallo to center, and now Willie Calhoun going to left field as well. The left-on-left approach. You know, Willie's got a very interesting bat path, stays pretty even, generates good backspin, but because it's relatively flat, the bat path that is, it allows him to line that ball to left field. These are little things you're looking for and paying attention and thinking about young hitters going on up against left-handed pitching. Not trying to do too much, right? Listen, it's great you get a pitch up in the zone or even middle in. Sure, you go ahead, turn on it, try to hit it into the stands. All of these guys have power, but it's also that smart approach, especially once you get to 2 strikes. Look for something middle away, hit it up the middle or left field. That's 3 really good at-bats in a row for all 3 of those left-handed hitters.
Right now Odor, see if he can continue the trend. 0 for 2. He is grounded out and struck out. And Maul's first pitch right in there for a strike.
How many lineups? I know it's September, so it's a little bit different, but how many lineups can give you 4 straight lefties 23 years old and younger? It's probably not something you're going to see very often, even in the same lineup, never mind that they're all hitting right in a row.
Oh, and 2 the count. Five hits in the inning, including the 2-run homer. Rangers feeling like they're not done yet. Gallo at second, Calhoun at first. And Odor now trying to do some battle here with 2 strikes. The 0-2. He spoils this one to the left side out of play.
Well, this would really be the icing on the cake. Now I know Ruby, of course, is down on the count 0-2, but the idea of him chipping in as well against the lefty after what the first 3 just did right in front of him, any way that he can. And again, don't forget that part. All of those guys, and obviously Willie hasn't been here very long, but all of these guys are 23 years old or younger.
There's a swing and a miss, and Odor strikes out to end the 5th inning. But the Rangers pick up 3 runs.
And the first 2 came on the big home run from Shin-Soo Choo, number 22 on the season, a 93-mile-an-hour fastball away that he drills into the Oakland A's bullpen. Score of 5-0 here in the top of the 6th inning. Well, Rangers fans, make sure you show your spirit year-round and stock up on Rangers gear at our team stores. Visit the Rangers team store in Fort Worth at Sundance Square or at the Majestic Grand Slam gift shop inside Globe Life Park. See hours and store information at texasrangers.com/retail.
Well read. Jake Smolinski leading off this 6th inning. Sneak you in just above the popcorn wagon out there in right field. 1-1 the count. Smolinski had the base hit in the 3rd inning. One of 2 Oakland hits so far tonight. And he takes strike 2. Martin Perez looked really good. He has faced just 2 over the minimum so far.
Yeah, he's really done a nice job. We've seen it now in a couple of at-bats where he's located the fastball in against right-handed hitters pretty well. Which he's going to have to do, obviously, having no lefties in the lineup tonight for the A's.
Ooh, bouncer 3rd base. Diving stop Robinson. Nice stretch at first by Gallo. And they get Smolinski. That's really well done on both ends.
Now this is a really good play here by Drew Robinson. Good job by Joey Gallo as well. And Drew, talk about him getting those opportunities right now. And here's that pitch from Martin Perez. But look at the full extension dive, hopping up right away. Good long stretch here from Joey Gallo. Very nice play. See how Drew Robinson's feet were moving before that ball was hit? So important. Cannot make that play flat-footed. You're not going to have nearly the range. Big league hitters, you'll see a couple of steps early. You see it there. Just showing off the athleticism and then showing off the arm as well.
1-1 to Marcus Semien, who's 0 for 2. Flied out to right, struck out looking in the 3rd inning. And it's a little bit in. 2-1. Five-0 Rangers lead tonight. Game 2 in our 4-game series, and Perez pushes him back just a touch. 3-1. And Martin just now getting to 70 pitches for the night. I'll tell you, 26 years old. Perez has made great strides the last 2 seasons. Another bouncer back at 3rd. Long throw, and Gallo able to get the tag on Semien once again. He's had to make that play a handful of times, and he has avoided any nasty collisions over there. 2 away.
Yeah, it's never a fun play for a first base when you start seeing that throw come up the line. You watch Drew Robinson backhand that ball, keeping an eye on it, making sure that it's not going to hit the bag. And Joey Gallo does a good job of getting that ball, getting the tag, and then getting out of there, making sure he doesn't get hurt. And you're right, we have seen this a couple of times from Joey, and he's handled it very well. You mentioned yesterday, I think Emily was mentioning it, where Joey Gallo loves the part of helping out his teammates.
That's right.
And a lot of times you think about the balls in the dirt. Well, certainly that is a ball right there that Joey Gallo helped out Drew Robinson on. He made a very nice play.
Well, both outs this inning. Gallo deserves a lot of credit for their completion as Matt Chapman 0 for 2. Takes it inside. 1-1 the count.
Chapman, you see the low batting average there, but the home runs as well.
Well, pop up short right field, and that one drops in front of 2 and hops up into the seats. Automatic double for Chapman.
And kind of an interesting guy. 57% of his hits this year have been extra base hits. That is the 3rd most among part-time players. He's not been a starter the whole year, but you see it there in 22 doubles now, and not a lot Chu could do on this one. Gave it everything he had and then kind of slid in, but he was not going to be able to get to this ball. And you see that sideways bounce that it takes and goes up in the stands, and probably better off, because had that ball bounced straight and gotten past Chu, it could have easily been a triple.
Well, 2 outs. Chapman with his first hit of the night out there at scoring position now for Jed Lowry. And Nicholas wants to make sure that they're on the same page here.
Probably not a bad idea. Jed Lowry has had a couple of really good at bats. He lined out to Rougned Odor in the 1st inning. Odor made a really nice play, and then the double that he hit over the head of Delino to Shield. So he squared up a couple of baseballs pretty well, and he's kept them in the middle of the field at the time. So gotta believe Brett Nicholas talking a little strategy with Martin Perez and trying to figure out what they want to do this time around. Good reaction there from Lowry on that fastball that was in, probably a ball. Martin will certainly take that call, and that instantly changes the composition of this at bat.
Oh, 1-1, and Lowry puts it on the ground down to first base. Gallo, busy inning, takes care of it himself. The inning is done.
Well, good inning for Joey Gallo with the glove, but he made a very nice play on this throw from Drew Robinson to retire Marcus Semien.
Sonic Slam inning, brought to you by Sonic Drive-In. Our jackpot today, $300 plus dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. Barbara Duncan of Azle, Texas. She is our contestant looking for a $300 home run somewhere in the inning. Doesn't really matter where. Although, if it is a grand slam this inning, then Barbara will win an additional $25,000. Good luck, Barbara. Here we go. 5-0. Rangers leading, and Nicholas fouls off strike one. Brett Nicholas, 8th place hitter, then Drew Robinson, and the backup to the top of the order for Delano DeShields. 5 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Rangers. They have stranded 5. No runs, 3 hits and an error for Oakland, and they have left 3. And Nicholas spoils another one. It's 0-2.
And not too many at bats this year against lefties for Brett Nicholas. 2 for 8 though on the season. No home runs. He's done a very nice job against the righties that he has faced this year. 302 coming into tonight in his limited action.
Maul buries that one. 1-2. So out for a little more work this inning. Maul, after getting a couple outs in the 5th inning, but allowing 3 hits, and has to do a little more.
I'm sure for Bob Melvin, wants to get a look at Maul against the lefties. You mentioned the 3 hits that he allowed Lazara, Gallo, and Calhoun. He was able to strike out Rougned Odor. We talk about this a lot and have been. You get to this point in the season, you're auditioning for next year, especially for young players. Just a 10th big league game for Sam Maul. So trying to finish on a little bit of a high note after the Rangers gave him a pretty tough time with the middle of their lineup.
This one out toward left field, and on the run for Davis. 1 away. Nice job by Chris Davis to close on that one quickly. Well, make a lasting impression with your clients, family, friends, and employees, entertaining them at Globe Life Park for a night of hospitality. All nightly suite rentals, include parking passes, a suite attendant, concierge service, and recognition on the center field video board. Just go to texasrangers.com/suites to place a deposit for a suite rental in 2018. A memorable and unforgettable way to spend the night at the ballpark. Robinson offers it the first pitch from Maul. Pops this one up, and it will end up in the stands. Drew 1 for 2, singled his last time up, scored a run. Showed a graphic earlier tonight. Most home runs among hitters with fewer than 100 at-bats this year. Now, he's picked up a couple of at-bats today, which gets him to an even 100 ABs this year. But Robinson's second in baseball in terms of home runs hit in that select group. The reason you bring it up is because the overall numbers, 6 homers and 13 RBIs, by themselves, those might not jump off the page at you. But contextually, realizing how many at-bats he has gotten, or how few he has gotten, then you begin to understand how good and how powerful that bat can be. A splintered grounder to second base, and Lowry takes care of Robinson 2 away.
Well, you're right, and we know, of course, that Drew Robinson has shown really good power at the minor league level, and wanted to see if that will play at the big league level, and I'd say so far that it has.
Well, that ground out, and they'll turn the lineup over with a right-hander coming on. Simon Castro will be coming in for Oakland. Rangers leading. Little pitching change here, and a little reminder as well. Tomorrow on Fox, Iowa taking on Michigan State, a big Big Ten battle, followed by a Big 12 shootout between Oklahoma State and Texas Tech. College football on Fox. Every game is everything. All right, here we go. Simon Castro is the new pitcher in this 6th inning.
Here are the numbers for Castro. Game number 25 for him. Pretty good whip at 1.25. Castro, a guy with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. He's got a slider and a changeup as well. Splits for him, kind of backward splits this year. He has beat up left-handed hitters. 172 against lefties. However, right-handed hitters have hit 288 against him.
Well, here is DeShields, righty on righty, and Castro's first pitch fouled away. Delino 0 for 3. Though he reached briefly on an error in the 3rd inning. A wild play after crossing first base. Made a move towards second, and then as he was walking back to the back, tagged out from behind. And he takes high, 1-1. To this point, that has not factored in to be a very material play in the ballgame. Rangers offense has shown up tonight, scored 5 runs so far, and this one fouled away for strike 2. So this was back in the 3rd.
Well, Delino DeShields hits this ground ball to Matt Chapman, who's got to try to make a play on a run, rushes it. The throw ends up getting away from Ryan Healy, but that's what it was right there. That attempt by Delino DeShields, even a little bit of a flinch to go to second base, realized he wasn't going to do it. But once you do that, you got to make your way back to first base. You no longer have that right to run through the first base bag.
Well, a strikeout swinging, and that ends the bottom of the 6th. We'll go to the 7th tonight with the Rangers leading 5-0.
A's by a score of 5-0, and Martin Perez back out on the hill to start this 7th inning, and he is the subject of our State Farm winning combination. The last several starts for Martin, in particular the last couple of months, have been very consistent for Mr. Perez, and tonight he goes 6 innings, walking just 1, striking out 2, and then of course the Martin Perez signature double play also in play here tonight. Martin talked about the desire to go into the offseason on a positive note and really did want to continue the momentum that he had built over the last couple of months of the season, calling it the most fun of his career, guys.
Well, I hope it's fun because he has been great, and I guess when you're going great, it would be fun. What a way to finish the year, and tonight pitching extremely well. Big swing and a miss by Chris Davis, and it is 1-1.
Yeah, Martin has done an excellent job ever since he made that mechanical adjustment in his delivery, lowering his hands, giving him a little bit more tempo and movement through his pitching motion. It is really amazing what a difference that has made for him. We were talking about his last 10 in our open, but just something to keep an eye on. You're right. I mean, it's really nice to see him finishing this season on a strong note. For him going into the offseason with some momentum, feeling good about the way that his year finished out. Another year that you can learn from. It's okay, well, here's what happened in the beginning, here's what happened in the end, here's the adjustment I made. Now he's just got to go do his regular work here in the offseason, and I got to believe he fully expects to pick up where he left off and have even a stronger wire-to-wire season.
Well, he walks Davis to start this 7th inning. Just the second walk that he has issued today, both times to Davis. Close pitch.
And Martin didn't love this call. Let's take a look at this fastball away. And yeah, wow. Looked like it caught the corner right at the bottom of the strike zone.
Now, last time he walked Davis, he got this guy, Ryan Healy, to bounce into a 4-6-3 double play. And the first pitch on the way, that one inside, ball 1. Well, there have been a couple of guys who have stood out lately in this last couple weeks of the season. We've seen examples of players on other teams who have made big adjustments. They've either rebuilt swings, whatever the case. Think of with Oakland, Matt Olson and the changes he made. And had an incredible sprint to the finish prior to hurting himself. We saw it in Seattle with Mike Zunino, who was made. I mean, he went down to AAA, rebuilt himself and his swing, and has come back and has finished the season very strong offensively. And you think to yourself, man, those are great stories, the types of stories that you hope to have. Every team hopes to have. Well, I think in the Rangers case this year, the moral equivalent of those would be Martin Perez. The adjustment that he made 10 starts ago, and he has turned into a rather dominant starter now for the Rangers. And Doug Bocale trying to help him through to a strong finish tonight. But I mean, that's just outstanding. It gives you such encouragement and hope going into the offseason.
No, it definitely does for him, because had that season, this season, continued the way that it was going, it could have been a really ugly year for Martin Perez, and he would have been really discouraged going into this offseason. And so you get together, and sometimes it's advice from, of course, your pitching coaches at the first kind of guys that you go to. Sometimes you pick up something else from a teammate, but whatever it is, then you got to believe in it, right? Because somebody can say, oh, you don't lower your hands, but if you're kind of iffy on it.
Line drive, base hit for Healy. Davis will stop at second, and 2 men on here in the 7th inning.
So if you're not fully committed, if you don't believe in what the advice that someone may give you that they believe can help you, well, you're not going to get anywhere with it anyway. But Martin Perez felt like he wanted to make an adjustment, and he did. He was sold to it, and he's gotten great results. It's always nice, because making changes mid-season can be a little bit scary for big leaguers, because especially if you've done it before, you've had some success, and they'll say, well, you're gonna do something different. Like, if I get away, could it get worse? That's always the scary thing. And for Martin Perez, it worked out really well.
2 on, nobody out. And now Nunez steps back. So there is some activity now in the Rangers bullpen. Keone Kela. And then toss it out there for a few minutes. So he's just about ready to go if needed. And a backdoor breaking ball in there for a strike on Nunez. This guy rewarded for an outstanding year at AAA with Nashville. Led the Pacific Coast League in home runs, ranked 4th in extra base hits, did strike out a lot. Was the MVP of the AAA All-Star game, hit a 3-run homer in that game. And a guy who the Nashville Sounds, as they're known, they were able to use him in a number of different places. Some left field, third base, DH, even played a little first and second base. So in the mold or in the spirit of those Swiss Army knife kind of players that have become so popular now and so necessary around Major League Baseball, Nunez, a great bat to go with some real versatility. And another bright spot for the Oakland A's as they look at their future. You look at part of the Rangers' future right there, and another very versatile player in Drew Robinson. A protective swing. The count stays 1-2.
Referred to as the emergency hack is Nunez trying to protect with 2 strikes, not expecting that fastball. It got on him really quick. He was able to barely foul it off. You're talking about his year at AAA, 32 home runs. He hit just 249, though. The on base was pretty low at 319 for a guy with that much power. But if you can play multiple positions and show a little bit of pop, respectable on base, he could find himself a steady player in the big leagues.
High fly ball out to right field. Long run for Chu, and it is gone. And Nunez goes the other way. A 3-run homer, and it makes it a 5-3 game, and that is his first major league home run.
Yeah, normally, you know, we like congratulating guys when they hit their first one, but not now. Not with this game all of a sudden getting close here in the 7th inning. Nunez had come in and played 15 games in the big leagues between this year and last year. And unfortunately, now he knocks Martin Perez out of this game. Inning, the Rangers hanging on to this 5-3 lead against the A's. But let's take a look at this home run, and that is a really good pitch from Martin Perez. It's down and away. It's 93 miles an hour. It's got some good run on it. So credit Nunez for a good at bat going the other way in a 1-2 count against a good two-seam fastball from Martin Perez for his first big league homer. And the A's now have a home run in 16 straight games. They've been playing some very good baseball since the beginning of September.
Bruce Maxwell will pinch hit here for Fegley, and he takes a fastball for strike 1.
I'll take a look at the Ford pitch arsenal here for Kela. Good fastball at 96 miles an hour. The curveball has been exceptional for him this year. He's got a changeup that he'll throw in there every once in a while, but it is the fastball curveball combination for Kela. The high velocity, the big break. It was interesting too. I don't know the history of Bruce Maxwell and Keone Kela, but I did happen to see them catching up, saying hello before the game, and it happens. That's the way it goes in the big leagues. Once you get in between the lines, you're friends no more.
Fouled away. And the count stays 1-2. A 5-3 game, and the 3 Oakland runs have come here in the 7th inning. And one of the oddities of this season has been the 7th inning. The Rangers have been outscored 100 to 54 in the 7th inning. And they nearly doubled up. When you look at the difference in runs between the Rangers and their opponent, whether there were innings in which the Rangers had outscored the opponents or been outscored by the opponents, it's anywhere 5 to 10 runs per inning. The ground ball second base, and a nice play by Odor. And they get Maxwell one away.
This is a really good play by Rougned Odor. This ball was well struck by Maxwell. We're going to watch Odor go to his right here. Backhanded on that kind of sliding play, gets himself turned around, and a good job by Joey Gallo to hold the bag. You'll hear me say this a lot. You always anticipate a bad throw. There was a little bit of hesitation there from Odor. I'm not sure if he was waiting for Joey to get all the way to the bag, and sometimes that can throw an infielder off, but a good job by Joey to always anticipate the bad throw and be able to hold that bag even though the throw was up the line.
Kela drops a breaking ball down in the dirt. Ball 1 to Mark Canha. One out here, nobody on. Good fastball, 97 miles an hour. 1-1 the count. Kela huffing and puffing. And this one fouled away. So Keone in for Martin Perez, and in Martin's final start of the year went 6 innings, pitched into the 7th, but credited with 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 runs, all earned. Walked 2, struck out 2. Breaking ball swung on and missed, strike 3.
Give you an idea how good the Kela curveball is. With that swing, just an .093 batting average against that pitch this year. That thing is absolutely nasty. Take a look at this swing from Mark Canha. Here's the breaking ball, starts the ball, finishes at the bottom of the zone. Just such a great pitch, such a huge weapon. Every once in a while this year we'll see where it gets a little bit smaller and it's not quite as effective. And that is the good one, especially after it is followed from a high fastball. That's a good combination from Kela.
So with 2 gone, Kela goes with the heat again, this time just a little bit low. Matt Joyce hitting for Jake Smolinski. Let's see Joyce's numbers. Not bad at all. Swings and misses at that curve again. 1-1.
Well, the speed differential is what really sells that pitch so much. It gets guys so far out front. You see 97 and 98 on a fastball, and then you see that breaking ball in the mid 80s. Talking about a 12, 13 mile an hour difference. Get some ugly swings like we've seen so far this inning.
1-2 the count.
Take a look at the pitch range so far here tonight for Kela. Fastball is topped out at 98, and that curveball has been as slow as 83.
One-two pitch. Oh, looked good. Did he go? Yes, he did. Another strikeout, 2 in the inning. So Kela sharp as he gets 3 straight. Time to stand and stretch. We give it over to Chuck Morgan.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen.
Will you please rise and direct your attention to the area behind home plate, and please welcome back Mario Flores. In honor of all the veterans who have served our country and the servicemen and women who are currently stationed at home and around the world, Mario Flores will now perform God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, while we fall. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
This was Shin-Soo Choo. Huge home run for Choo tonight. That one came in the 5th inning. A 2-run blast, and we didn't know at the time that it would be as crucial as it has been. At the time, the Rangers were leading 2-0. That made it 4-0. Well, they have needed all 4 of those runs. In fact, all 5 now to this point with the 5-3 lead. Renato Nunez with his first career home run for Oakland. The 3-run blast at the top of the inning has gotten them back in it as we get to work here in the bottom of the 7th inning. And Choo will lead things off in the 7th.
They may ask him to try to do it again. Of course, you just mentioned it. Big home run from Choo back in the 5th. This game suddenly got a little bit tighter.
Santiago Casilla has come on in relief.
Take a look at the season here. Game number 62, 4.26 ERA for Casilla. 94-mile-an-hour fastball. He's got a slider, a curveball, and a changeup that sits right around 88 miles an hour.
A handful of defensive changes. New battery, most notably, is Maxwell taking care of Casilla. It's 2-0. But wait, there's more. Mark Canha has moved from right field into center field. Matt Joyce has taken over in right. Those are the other 2 changes. Everything else stays the same. And Chu hammers this ball out to Joyce. He came in and then leaps up to make the catch. Well, aesthetically, it may have lacked just a touch, but a good recovery by Joyce, and there is one away.
Well, that's how you show up in highlights. The ball was well struck, and we know, of course, the ball will carry a little bit out to right field, and this one certainly did. It fooled Matt Joyce. Hit harder than he thought. Had a little bit more carry than he expected as he came in first and used the vertical to recover. Like you said, not pretty, but he made the play.
A little trouble on the dismount there. Andrews pops this one up. And Davis coming in left field. 2 gone. So Casilla gets a couple of quick outs. And now Nomar Mazara, who's had a really good night at the plate. 2 for 3, and back in the first inning, picked up 2 RBIs on this one, the third. I think a bad hop on Chapman. It plated 2, and for Nomar, that leaves him 1 shy of 100 RBIs for the year. He'll guaranteed get another at bat tonight. And with just 2 games remaining in the regular season, that is the carrot that's dangling out in front of Nomar and his remaining at bats. Find a way to get that 1 more batted in. Casilla breaks contact here. 5-3 Rangers lead. We're in the bottom of the 7th. Now some activity for the Rangers. Jake Diekman preparing himself to pitch in the 8th inning. Keller did a nice job.
And he certainly did. Keone Keller looked really strong tonight. Good fastball, good breaking ball, a couple of strikeouts.
Pretty good bottom line right there for Nomar Mazara. Back-to-back 20 homer seasons. It's 2-2. Hey, on our out-of-town scoreboard, huge game in Miami. Marlins beat the Braves 7-1. Very little impact on the standings or postseason, but Giancarlo Stanton 2 for 4. Had an RBI, single, a double, no homers.
Did you say 7-1?
Yeah, 7-1.
My at-bat says 6-5. Is mine wrong?
It's not clear. Am I looking at the wrong? I guess I might be. Hold on. Updating. 6-5.
All right.
Thank you. Good
No
correction.
problem. No, you know, I've had some issues with that bat.
I've had
which
major
is
issues with it.
Great at-bat. Great app. But every once in a while, especially when we go to the West Coast, it gets a little jacked up on me.
Well, Mazara strikes out swinging. Santiago Casilla. Very nice. 10 pitch, 7th inning. We go to the 8th tonight. Rangers up by 2. Northwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more. Well, a beautiful Friday night here at Globe Life Park. And so far, a game well played. 5-3 Rangers on top here in the 8th inning, and Jake Diekman is on in relief.
And here's the forward pitch arsenal for Jake Diekman. A very simple 2-pitch mix. The fastball sits at 94 miles an hour. He uses it 68% of the time, and you'll see the slider 32%. That pitch sits right around 82 miles an hour.
All right, he'll get the top of the order. Simeon, Chapman, and Jed Lowry. Simeon today 0 for 3 with a strikeout. And Diekman really unbuckles his belt with that one. Simeon, the .251 average, but came in with an on-base percentage of .330, a little better than league average. 1-1 the count. And Jake Diekman, one of the better stories in 2017 for the Rangers, despite the great number of games he had to miss this year on the disabled list. Simeon pops this one up, back of first base, 2 coming on, 2 wants it. 1 away. Time for a Chevy game break. Let's throw it back once again to Dana Larson.
Dave, Indians were hosting the White Sox tonight and flat dominating. Jose Ramirez with a 2-run double, part of a 6-run bottom of the second. That's 55 doubles for Ramirez. In Indians history, only George Burns and Hall of Famer Tris Speaker have more in a season. A 10-1 final, their 101st win, guys.
Keeping them 1 game ahead of the Astros.
What a year it has been for the Cleveland Indians. They are certainly enjoying things right now as they get ready for the postseason. Interesting to see what they do. And we saw Jose Ramirez in that highlight, who's now playing second base for the Indians. It was a 3-for-3 night for him. Well, that means Jason Kipnis, who got hurt this year, is playing at center field. Very interesting to see what's going on with Cleveland, how they're going to handle their postseason roster. They are a good team, certainly poised for another postseason deep run. So if they tie, the Indians would have, you see it there, the wins. The Indians would have the tiebreaker as far as home field advantage against the Astros. Well, you mentioned a 1-game lead with 2 to play.
Second baseman, Jed Lowry.
Check out Jake Diekman here recording his first strikeout of the night, and there is that nasty slider that he throws just below the zone at 83 miles an hour. I was looking up this on the Jake Diekman slider this year, is yet to allow a hit on that pitch. And going back to last year, opposing hitters between 2016 and 2017 are hitting .091 against Jake Diekman's slider. 5 for 55. I guess you can make it 5 for 56 now after that strikeout. It has just been an unbelievably dominant pitch for him.
Two gone, bases empty. Lowry with that double. Saw Jose Ramirez had that double in the Indians win tonight. And what did Dana say? That he passed George Burns?
Nope, he's third right now.
Third.
George Burns and Tris Speaker are in front of him.
Good night, Grayson.
It's been a huge year for Jose Ramirez.
3-1 to Jed Lowry. Well, just an old soul. Lowry tried to hold up, and he did. That's ball 4. And so he will take his base. You know, George Burns loved cigars. You had a nice cigar box. So the guys in the truck, believe it or not, they have a cigar box. And they got in and they found your first card.
That's a great picture, isn't it? Good gracious, what a punk. That is some kind of punk.
14 years old.
I mean, we could have just stopped it at 8 major league teams and left it there. Was it really necessary to show the rest of that information?
I don't have any of your major league records on that.
Exactly. None of my records are on there.
That's weird.
One official, a couple are unofficial.
Well, let's see. You have the hit batters in an inning.
Not an inning, in a row. Most hit batters in a row. Consecutive hit batters. Okay. If you're going to do it, really apply yourself.
Did you spread that out over? Well, you couldn't have spread it out over 2 innings.
No, it all happened in 1 inning. Most consecutive hit batters. I'm one of a few.
Chopper, and just past Odor into right field. Lowry will go to third base on the Baltimore chop into the outfield. And the A's have him on the corners.
This is just an unlucky hit for the Texas Rangers. That ball was beaten into the ground by Chris Davis. Rougned Odor was playing up the middle against the right-hander and just took a big bounce into the outfield. Nothing anybody could do about that one. Chris Davis, I guess you could say, beating the shift there a little bit, but the ball just bounced too high for anybody to get to.
Well, here's Ryan Healy. Potential tying runs on in the top of the 8th inning. Lowry at third. Davis at first. Healy with a hit tonight and 3 trips, and he takes one low and away. Let's see, I'm trying to think the other records. You were the
unofficial. They're all unofficial. The rest are unofficial.
All-time ERA leader, franchise history for the is it the
New York Mets? Yeah, that is official. Yeah. Minimum 5 innings pitched.
Minimum 5 innings pitched. Yeah, that's the key.
That is true. You got to have the qualifier in there. I threw 5 2/3 shutout over my extended career there.
So that one should hold.
Well, it was close, actually. You never know. Somebody throws 6 or 7 innings shutout and then they move on. Well, then I fall to second because then you get ranked by innings. I mean, it will be a tie for the ERA, but as far as,
I would think that
who gets held in higher esteem.
Okay, I mean, it seems like the math to me stays the same.
It's hard to beat 0.
Yeah. They're not going to be able to get inside of that.
No.
3-0 now to Healy.
Self-proclaimed. Unsubstantiated. Never really got anybody to find out this is true. And I believe I'm the only pitcher to ever get a 1-pitch win in both the big leagues and in Japan.
Well, I'll go ahead and verify.
You feel pretty good.
Yeah.
1-pitch win. Did it a couple different continents. Wins I really felt like I deserved. 1-pitch win, buddy. 1 in Colorado.
Yeah.
1 in Fukuoka. Yeah, take them when you can get them.
Man, what would be the secret to your success there?
Be just bad enough that they're only going to use you in games you're losing. And then hopefully get that opportunity where there's a lefty in there and you come in with 2 outs and your team's down and you get them out.
A walk to Healy and moves a potential tying run into scoring position now, and that'll bring Doug Brocail out to the mound. We have not seen Diekman struggle much this year. And I wouldn't call this necessarily a struggle, but he's in a bit of a spot all of a sudden.
And a couple of walks this inning, the bad base hit. After 2 quick outs, the strikeout and the fly out. And so now, Jake Diekman, a potential tying run on second base, and Doug Brocail wanting to just give him a little bit of a breather here, get him back on track as he gets ready to face Nunez. And then, of course, Nunez hit his first big league home run against the lefty. As you see Rodriguez working quickly to get ready. And I mentioned it when we saw it. He had a really good pitch. Watch this fastball from Martin Perez at 93 miles an hour. It came back over the plate a little bit, but it was still on the outer third and pretty well located. So I think for Doug Brocail, probably just kind of covering that very quickly with Jake Diekman as they talk about game plan.
Now bases loaded. Rangers up by 2. The veteran Diekman to the rookie Nunez. Low with ball 1. Powerful hitter. You mentioned earlier, Nunez did a lot of great things this year at AAA with the Nashville Sounds for Oakland, but did not hit for a high average, did not get on base at a high clip. So, I mean, he is a big swinger, good power, but a guy you can get out in the count 1-1.
He had a very difficult time catching up to that 98-mile-an-hour fastball that had a little bit of natural cut, came in on his hands.
Well, that time fooled by the breaking ball. 1-2.
We covered it earlier with Kello. How about 16 miles an hour difference from this slider? You're thinking about trying to catch up to 98 in on the hands, and then you got to deal with the excellent slider of Jake Diekman.
You come back with the fastball here?
I'd bury a slider below the zone, get him and try to chase it. You can also go back to the heater. I go up and in if you go fastball.
Bouncer foul. Looked like he was trying to get that slider down. Left it up a little bit, huh?
It was down far enough. I think if anything, he might have wanted it a little bit further in. That back foot slider that we talk about that finishes a ball. It was low enough. And now Brett Nicholas and Jake Diekman to go over exactly what they want to do. Diekman pretty firm in what he wanted to do, and Nicholas said, wait a minute, just want to double check something real quick. So again, you can go fastball, and you got all kinds of options when you have the kind of arm that Jake Diekman has. But you think about, how did you get here? Had a really hard time on the fastball. You go back-to-back sliders. You could throw the slider again. I wouldn't throw it for a strike. It's a little bit risky, but I really like the fastball up and in.
Got the fastball a little bit in. It's 2-2.
They were trying to go up, and you see where Brett Nicholas's glove is, up and in, and there's 97 just in. Good job by Nicholas too to hold that pitch.
Oh, now the 25th pitch of the inning for Jake Diekman. A walk, a single, and a walk, all coming with 2 out. Swung on and missed, got him on a slider, and leaves the bases loaded. So Diekman got into trouble, but got himself out of it.
It was fun to dig in and watch the exchange here between Diekman and Nunez, and ultimately it's the slider down and in, and Nunez swings right over as Diekman gets himself out of trouble. Time for the AT&T high-speed replay. We're going to show the Rangers flashing a little leather. Delino DeShields in center field with that nice, fully extended diving play to record it out when Martin Perez was still in earlier. And then Martin gets a little bit more help, this time from Drew Robinson, who goes to his right, makes a very nice play, and a good throw over there to Joey Gallo. Also shut off a nice stretch. Some good defense here tonight from the Texas Rangers as they hold on 5-3 here in the bottom of the 8th inning against the Oakland A's.
All right, Daniel Coulombe has come on in the 8th. He'll have to deal with Joey Gallo to start things off.
We'll take a look at the numbers here for Coulombe, the left-hander. Game number 72 for him. 37 strikeouts to 22 walks. He's done a pretty good job against lefties. .212 batting average against. .270 though against righties.
And the tale of 2 seasons for him, though. He started the year brilliantly for Oakland through late June. Like his first 31 appearances had a 1.78 ERA and opponents hitting below 200 against him. Counts are foul. 1 and 2 on Gallo. The last 40 appearances for Coulombe, though, not as good. A 5.33 earned run average. And opposing hitters hitting 278 against him.
He got away with 2 sliders that he hung to Joey Gallo the first 2 pitches of this at bat, and since come back with the curveball. Another curveball. So far not throwing Joey Gallo a fastball.
Two and 2 the count. And that is strike 3 called. Gallo not pleased, but I think he knew it. And he is the first out of the 8th inning. Well, watch every out-of-market regular season game live on MLB.TV Premium on over 400 supported devices. Plus, you'll get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Just go to MLB.TV for details. Willie Calhoun, oh, look out, a little in. Ball 1. Calhoun with a couple of hits tonight. That has pushed his season average up to 240. He hasn't had a whole lot of at-bats. So a night like tonight can really boost things in a hurry. Another hit here tonight would really help. And he smashes this one down to first off of Healy's glove. And it is another hit. Calhoun aboard. And the Rangers have a runner in this 8th inning.
3-hit night now for Willie Calhoun, and does a good job getting a base hit, his second of the night against a left-handed pitcher. So that is certainly encouraging as we take a look at the pitch here. And this looked like a slider, and the slider has not been good tonight so far for Coulombe, as that one also hung. The curveball has been much better than the slider, and Willie Calhoun is all over this pitch. Hits it hard. Really can't get to it. And base hit number 3. Good to see Willie Calhoun swinging strong bat.
So great night for Calhoun. Rougned Odor will take a breaking ball for a ball. Pinch runner is Ryan Rua. Takes over for Calhoun over there at first. Odor looking for that first hit of the night. Couple of strikeouts and an 0 for 3. He swings and misses. It's 1-1. Now in the 9th inning, we would expect to see Alex Claudio, who continues to prepare himself out of the bullpen. Brad Holman, bullpen coach, looking on. Breaking ball.
Claudio, of course, he threw last night, but in typical Alex Claudio fashion, threw just 11 pitches. He has been so incredibly efficient this year. He's been great this year. Huge part, maybe the biggest part of the Ranger bullpen, certainly the most consistent. What a year it has been for Alex.
You know, never named the closer. Season started with Sam Dyson in the closer role. And I think everybody pretty well aware of what happened there, which is it did not work out. Dyson ultimately became a San Francisco Giant. Then Matt Bush took the job, and it worked for a moment, but kind of unraveled on Bush. And then Jeff Bannister, to his credit, decided, all right, look, no more. We're not naming anybody closer. We don't want to put that pressure on anybody. Let's just figure it out game to game. Well, that was just semantics, because really Claudio was the kind of the go-to guy, and I think everybody understood that, and he did a terrific job. Here's my question. Would you feel comfortable starting next season with Claudio as the named closer?
He would do a good job. I'd have confidence that he could absolutely do it. If you're asking me if I'm building a championship caliber bullpen, I would rather have the option of not having to use Alex Claudio in that role, because I want to use him more. If that makes sense, right? If you pigeonhole him in that closer role, then you're only going to use him in safe situations. I want to be able to use him down by 2, up by 5.
You want Claudio in the Andrew Miller role?
I'd say so. I want to be able to use him. I just don't want him to feel like he's only going to pitch when the team is up by 3 or less runs. I want to pitch in tie games. I want to pitch down. Like I said, I always use the phrase for the go-to guys, down by 2, up by 5. I want to be able to use them anywhere in that range, and for them to be ready for that. And you see what the Rangers have done this year, the blown saves that came early. And look what has happened after July 1st. Only 5 blown saves, second fewest in Major League Baseball.
Well, 2 gone now after the strikeout, and here is Brett Nicholas. And a curveball from Coulomb.
I think the best case scenario, we'll see how the winter goes, but Alex Claudio's been great. Want to use him a lot. Jake Diekman, of course, a full year of him all the way back. You saw what Kella did tonight. Really encouraged. Love to have him over the course of a full year. He can be an impact arm in the bullpen. Of course, Matt Bush can be as well. But if you could have that established closer, and they're very difficult to come by, but if you could have a guy and bring him in and slide everybody down one, health always is a little bit of an issue, but I think that's where the bullpen could be really strong. Obviously, it was an issue not having the established closer. It has been at times here in Texas. If they could find that guy via free agency or trade, and then use the rest of the pieces that have been good this year in those next roles, I think we can get this thing turned around pretty quickly.
I like your argument for Claudio to be used in a different role. Breaking ball, and this one lifted out into left field. Davis is there, and the inning is done. So nothing doing for the Rangers in the 8th. We go to the 9th inning. Willie Calhoun, he's had a great night tonight. 3 hits in this one, and Calhoun has his average up to nearly 270.
onto it and get back in the win column. Dana Larson here along with Mark McLemore, and we'll have the post-game show Rangers Live presented by Frontier Communications coming up right after the game. Mac, we got some good things to choose from for our post-game so far. What are you thinking?
We do. We've got some good pitching. We have some good hitting. But I'm going to talk about some defense. The Rangers threw some leather out there tonight, and I'm going to talk about that.
How about that? The doctor of defense going that way. We will certainly have that. We'll have reaction from the skipper, key players in the clubhouse, and talk about Andrew Kashner and his start tomorrow as well. All that and so much more coming up right after the game. Guys, see you shortly, we hope.
Thank you, Dana. You know, you guys need to just roll back some highlights of Mac flashing the leather. That would be.
We'll call him a doctor of defense for nothing. It's a good nickname. Wish I had a good nickname.
Petrovsky. Here is Alex Claudio in the ninth inning.
Now here is the Ford pitch arsenal for Alex. The two-seam fastball, 87 miles an hour. The changeup has been so good for him. That slider as well. And we were talking about his efficiency. 13.5 pitches per inning for Alex this year. That is the best in Major League Baseball among relievers by a full half a pitch, which is a big number. He has not only been great, but he has been incredibly efficient in what he does.
Squaring off against Franklin Barreto, a great young prospect for Oakland. Ryan Rua has also stayed in the ball game. He takes over in left field for Calhoun. First time we have seen Barreto this year, a September call-up, and he's a young guy referred to earlier as the future second baseman for Oakland. Young kid, 290 average this last year at AAA with 15 home runs. Also stole 15 bases. And he takes a breaking ball. Strike three called. So a really quick at bat for that young man. One away here in the ninth inning.
Yeah, and he gets a good look here. And what looks to appear to be the Alex Claudio changeup. It cut back over the plate a little bit, but at 71 miles an hour, there it is. That is a nice shot of the grip and how his hand drags behind. So important to the success of the changeup, the way that his hand just kind of drags through the zone, and Alex makes quick work of the rookie.
Now Canna, and he reaches out, pops this one up back behind home plate for strike one. Well, we were talking last inning about Alex Claudio, and I was just as the inning ended acknowledging that I really do like the argument, and I hadn't really thought of it that way, that by not naming Claudio the closer, you free him up to be used in that Andrew Miller mold as they do in Cleveland. And he is great that way because you can slot him in just about every spot. But I really like him as a closer. And partly because he reminds me a little bit of the great Dan Quisenberry back in the day with the Kansas City Royals, who was a submariner, a little more so than a sidearmer like Claudio, but did not throw as hard as today's closers. He was a little bit of an aberration even in his time. I feel like Claudio's got that rubber arm. You could use him like all the time and not feel too bad about it, which I think is a really important piece for a closer. You got to be a guy that a team can rely on to take the ball.
Oh, he's done a great job in that regard as far as his innings go. It really hasn't been an issue for him. 77 innings as a reliever. Of course, he had that spot start in there as well, but among relievers, that is 7th most in the major leagues. But also this too, we've talked a lot about his excellent ground ball rate. Came into tonight with a 67% ground ball rate. He's not a big strikeout guy. He doesn't strike out a lot of hitters, but he induces a lot of weak contact, and a lot of that is on the ground. So also think about middle innings, right? Putting out fires, getting the ground ball for double plays. He certainly has a lot of value there.
Canna lines this one over third, but foul.
So again, I go back to trying to put together a championship caliber bullpen, one that you want to make a extended postseason run. Could Alex hold down that closer job and do it? Probably. I have the confidence that he could. But if you really want to, I think, put together the best possible bullpen you can, you slide him into a more flexible role and get a more traditional closer to finish out games.
2-2. Well, I'll make one more argument for Claudio as a full-time closer, and Lord knows. I mean, first of all, this disclaimer: we're not trying to tell anybody how to do or what to do with their jobs. I mean,
I think fans are thinking about it. They're thinking about the bullpen next year. It was an issue this year.
I don't envy anybody who has to make these kind of decisions. But the one thing I like about Claudio, too, in the closer role is the fact that he gets verdicts so quickly in individual at-bats and then in innings. In fact, what you were talking about, the average pitches per inning. This one looped over shortstop into left field, and that is a base hit. Canna is aboard. But I think when you think of so many closers in baseball, not just recently for the Rangers, but I think all around baseball, there are a lot of closers who are top steppers, as we call them. And we call them top steppers because the manager's always poised on that top step, wondering, like, how much more can I take? And because guys get in a lot of trouble, they go deep in counts, and they're looking for that strikeout. The thing I like about Claudio in that closer role, there's no drama, man. He comes in, and it is bang, bang, bang.
No, it happens fast. Does an excellent job. You like him right here. The opportunity to get a double play potentially to end the game. Ice in his veins as well. Never seems to be overwhelmed by the moment. He certainly has the personality for it. We talk about top step closers. I remember playing in Detroit, Ernie Harwell always calling Todd Jones Roller Coaster Jones because it seemed like he always had the tying run on third base.
1-1 to Matt Joyce. It is just such a different look for a closer. And even though inside of a game you might think, like, oh, I don't know how much that really matters, I think guys get so geared up as the game wears on for a certain type of pitcher. I don't know how many times it would take for people to get really used to seeing his style in the 9th inning. 1-2 now on Joyce.
We'll see what Alex does here. He goes to the two-seam fastball in, and Matt Joyce swings right over the top of it. So he's got an option here way ahead in the count 1-2 if he wants to sweep the slider. Looks like that is exactly what they're going to try to do here.
Here it comes. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Second strikeout in the inning for Alex Claudio.
Oh, I love Alex shaking to that pitch. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. After Joyce swung over the two-seam fastball, he takes that slider, starts it over the plate, finishes a ball. And Matt Joyce, nothing he can do about it. Could not lay off of that pitch. That is really good execution against a left-handed hitter by Alex Claudio.
Simeon, a bouncing ball shortstop. Andrews goes to short way to second, and this one is over. Alex Claudio comes in to finish off the win. The Rangers put an end to a season-long 7-game losing streak. 5-3 the final score tonight.
Well, an excellent job all the way around here by the bullpen. As soon as Kella took over in the 7th, Jake Diekman in the 8th, and then Alex Claudio in the 9th, sealing the deal. No runs allowed for this Texas Rangers bullpen, and a big night for that young man right there, Willie Calhoun, as he gets a little head rub from Nomar Mazara. 3 hits tonight, including an RBI single back in the 5th inning, and some really nice quality at bats against left-handed pitching.
And by the way, Martin Perez, 6 great innings tonight, got the win we were talking about today in the Open, and finishes the year with a winning record, 13-12. Claudio with his 11th save, and this was all the way around a really nice one.
Yeah, very good job by Martin Perez tonight. He was smooth. The defense gave him some great help. Of course, not surprising that he got a double play. That's what he does. Did a great job locating the fastball in. You see a couple in a row right there to right-handed hitters. He had to deal with an all right-handed lineup tonight. And even though righties came in hitting .313 against Martin Perez, he really answered the bell and did an excellent job against a very good and very hot Oakland A's lineup.
All right, chance for the first post-game bath for Willie Calhoun, who's standing by with Emily.
Thank you very much, Willie Calhoun. 3 hits tonight. You had your first Major League home run a couple of nights ago. What have the last few days been like for you?
It's been pretty crazy. Just being able to see pitching and see the quality of pitchers that they're throwing out there every day is something that I'm learning and something that I'm getting better with every day.
What has the big league experience been like for you so far?
It's been really good. Just being around all the guys and just
Hopefully the first of many for you. There you go. It's not a bad thing, is it?
No, it's not a bad thing at all.
What have the last few weeks been like for you, just being up here with the big club?
It's been definitely, I've learned a lot from them, and just being able to learn from them every day is something that that I look forward to when I got called up. Even though I knew I wasn't going to play as much, I was excited to be able to learn from them because I didn't go to spring training with them. So I felt like this is kind of my spring training for the team.
What do you want to get out of these last couple of games?
Just being around all the guys and just being able to learn from them and see how they go about their days. And that's something that I've been paying close attention to ever since I got called up.
Well, good job taking your first Powerade bath. Congratulations on the 3 hits tonight. We'll send it back up to you guys.
Right on, Emily. Nice job once again tonight and a great win for the Rangers. Hey, Dana Larson and Mark McLemore, they'll be back here shortly to talk about this complete effort tonight, give you all the player reaction and analysis. We'll be back as well to talk about Martin Perez. For CJ Nitkowski and Emily Jones, I'm Dave Raymond saying stay with us. Our coverage of tonight's game continues right after this.